Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. It is your responsibility to do your own due diligence, find what is right for you. So this is Bitcoin. Started off right around 66,500. Had a little bit of a pullback, kind of a double pullback here to right around. See if I can get the cursor to go. No, that's not correct. It doesn't really want to give me the number, but we can just see 66,772 was the bottom. And right now it is up to 67,754. It's just trending much higher. Try to bring up Ethereum, see what Ethereum is doing this morning. Ethereum is actually turning down. It looks like we got a double top over here, and it tried to rally, and it is being turned away. So that is the story with Ethereum. Let us go over here. This is the S&P. Service now is up. Looks like about 5.some%. T-Mobile is up. You would have bought that after hours, after they released on your trade. So that is the story on that one. Let us go over to our indexes. This is if you spent your whole lifetime building up your wealth and are concerned about it being another 2008 financial crisis, 2000 financial crisis, where you can lose up to 54% of your hard-earned wealth and have to work more years than you actually want to. Well, this is a good place to be. Beats index investing by about 5% per year. Goes up when the market goes up, does not go down when the market goes down. So that is a big benefit. There's a range of possibilities that you can do to make constant income on it. And there are bonuses out there. If you'd like to learn more, please let us know. And let us move over to our charts. Chart is, there we finally go. This is one that I missed yesterday, but we had initially had a buy at, I believe it was 28 on this one, and went all the way to 44, and then we kind of lost track of it. Should have put on an alert, because look at what it has done. It pulled back to 43.70, and it has done nothing but go straight up. Somebody was putting a target at 90. Who knows? It may get there, but that is Belit Bio. One of the most active, up 5% or more yesterday. Let us go over to our dollar, which has been surging. Dollar is trying to fill the gap that it gapped up yesterday, off 0.17%. Silver, maybe it's getting a little bit of a bounce today. No, it continues to sell off. It tried to move higher and sold. Yeah, silver looked like it filled that short little gap and then just sold off. Gold is up, marginally up 0.42%. Copper is down as well. Uranium continues to sell off. There's commodities. Tried to go higher and then sold off. It looks like it's filling this gap right over here, right around 22.63. Look at our bond yields. It's filling the gap from yesterday a little bit here. So a report that somebody wanted to believe that treasuries could get all the way up to 5% again. So if it does that, there's going to be a big sell-off, I think, in the market. So TBT 20-year is down 1.24%, down to 3.4%. Take a look at the VIX. Well, fear index, just screen here. VIX is still moving up 7.22%, above 20. S&P 500 pulling back a little bit. Equal weight in the S&P pulling back a little bit. NASDAQ, a little bit of a bounce. A little bit pretty flat on the equal weight. IWM down slightly today, pretty close to where it closed at yesterday. Dow Jones close is falling, and FXI is pulling back to its 20-day moving average, down 1%. Move to the financials, and they're right at the top slightly. Regional banking, pretty flat for the day. S&P 500 bank off 0.2%. Communications, pretty close to flat, riding the 20-day moving average. Utilities, slightly down about 0.5%, slightly higher. Biotech, up slightly today, up about 0.6%. And the other one falls a little bit. Semiconductors, pretty flat for the day. Infrastructure, XLY, I think, is going to be our sector of the day. It's up 2.68 with the help of Tesla. Take a look at Amazon, see what it's doing. It's up slightly as well, up a little over 1%. We're onto consumer goods, down 0.32%. Healthcare is down as well. Retail, down a little bit. Home builders, up slightly. Airlines, try to move higher and got a sold off right there. And we're slightly up on our leisure activities. So that is what we got going here so far. Let us go over to our news. For some reason, our news has disappeared again. So here it is, right where we left it. So we are at this 60, big beat, big gap up. Yesterday, let's see what the low was. The low was 241. So if you would have bought right after, I think it was around 236 to 239, right when they announced after hours. So you could have had a nice jump up today. I always like to look the after hours pricing. It's positive, give it a shot, and it usually works out 9 times out of 10. And I like those odds. Churchill Downs, Q3 EPS 97 cents versus 106. Initially sold off and is bouncing back, trying to get back to its 50-day moving average. Q3, we went over that. Hasbro, Q3 adjusted EPS $1.73 versus consensus $1.28. And you would think it'd go up on that, but it is off 5.63%. Must be the guidance that is moving forward. So product segment revenue, -12% to -14%. Still sees adjusted EBITDA 975 million to 1.03 billion. Estimate was 103 billion. So I guess that is why it is moving down. Las Vegas Sands, Q3 adjusted property EBITDA 991 million versus estimate of 1.025 billion. Initially moved up and then is at its lows for the day, still up 1.35%. TEL, Q3 adjusted EPS $1.14, tops consensus of 95 and is bouncing, getting above its 200-day average today, up 4.27%. O'Reilly, Q3 EPS $11.41 versus $11.55. Initially sold off, bounced off the 20-day moving average for support. Whirlpool, Q3 adjusted EPS $3.43 versus estimate $3.19. And yes, they are cheering that, up 14%, 651% increase in volume. The sell-off here, the volume is higher than the previous day's sell-off, and we're not even halfway through. So moving on to Boeing, shares down after its largest union rejected a new labor contract, extending a 6-week strike that has crippled production. So that is pulling back 1.67%. Kachi International, Q1 EPS $5.93 versus $5.07. Gaps up 6.14%. And we're on to Graco. Third quarter adjusted EPS 71 cents versus 76. It's falling on that news, down 1.04%, was down much lower. Earnings negative 7% year over year quarter. Newmont Mining, Q3 adjusted EPS 81 cents versus 86 cents. A big dive on that. That had been trending much higher. So I feel sorry for all those people that are moving into that one today. But on to Rollins. Q3 adjusted EPS 29 cents versus 30. We've got a gap down near its 200-day moving average, down 4.68%. Seadrill rises after Bloomberg reported Transocean rig was in talks to merge with its rival offshore driller. Gets a gap up of 6.57%. Let's take a look at Transocean. It is selling off about 3.4%. United Rentals, EPS 1180 versus 1248. It is falling on that to the 20-day moving average, off 1.58%. UPS Q3 adjusted EPS $1.76 versus estimate of $1.63. A big gap up. Pulls back slightly here, but still up 4 to 5% today. Waste Connections Q3 EPS $1.35 versus $1.29 is selling off just under 1%. Onto financials, Ameriprise Financial Q3 adjusted EPS $9.02 versus estimate $8.92. Initially sells off and bounces above the 20-day moving average. Lending Club Q3 EPS 13 cents versus estimate of 7 cents. Got a big jump up 11% today on that news. Western Union adjusted EPS 46 cents versus estimate of 44 cents. It is diving 4%. Onto healthcare. Align Technologies Q3 EPS $2.35 versus $2.31. It is bouncing up 7.42% on that news. On to ICLR, Align Technologies. They make those braces using kind of that little printer that prints out those braces. Q3 adjusted EPS $3.35, missed consensus of $3.84 on lighter revenues. So a huge gap down about 20% on that one. That is not good news for them. Molina Healthcare, Q3 EPS $6.01 versus $5.81 on revenues of $10.34 billion versus estimate of $9.91 billion. We got a huge jump on that of 22.42%. To Viking Therapeutics, quarterly EPS loss 22 cents versus estimate loss of 25 cents. And it is moving up pretty big on that news, up close to 23.5% on the day. Earnings up 4%. Just going to adjust our news. And on to managed care. Private medical insurers received approximately $4.2 billion in extra federal payments in 2023 for diagnoses made during home visits the company initiated. So this is Insignia. It was up 0.88% on that news. United Healthcare Group up 0.55%. This Elevance up 2.5%, and Humana. All of these are up slightly on that news. The extra payments were triggered by the diagnosis documented based on visits, including potentially inaccurate ones, for which patients receive no extra medical care, said the Wall Street Journal. On to technology, media, and telecom, IBM Q3 adjusted EPS $2.30 versus estimate of $2.23. it is diving 6.62%, earnings up 5% year-over-year quarter. Ingram Micro, 18.6 million share IPO priced at $22. And look at that, it was up quite a bit and then has kind of dropped like a rock. We'll continue to put this, we'll put this into our IPO pocketbook here, so we can just keep a track of this for one all. Impinj, Q3 adjusted EPS 56 cents versus estimate 48 cents. And I guess people are looking for a lot more, down 13% today on a nearly 1,000% increase in year-over-year quarter earnings. Q3 EPS 56 cents versus 48. Must have been maybe some sees revenues 91 to 94 million versus estimate of 90 million, and adjusted EPS 45 to 49 cents versus 40 cents. Must have been on the forward-looking guidance. Lam Research, Q3 EPS 86 cents versus 80 cents. Got a gap up, closing, and it's fallen to the low of the day, up 3.05%. Max Linear, adjusted EPS 36-cent loss versus estimate 32-cent loss. Must be a little bit of a relief rally because their earnings year-over-year quarter are down of 1,900%. So on to ServiceNow, they beat earnings 3.72 cents versus $3.46. Full year 24 subscription revenue 10.655 billion to 10.66 billion. It says partners with NVIDIA to accelerate enterprise adoption of agentic AI, and they have signed up a new chief operating officer, I believe it is, that they recruited from Google. So that is very interesting news in itself. Teradyne, Q3 EPS 9 cents versus estimate 78 cents. And yes, that is diving down about 9% on that news. T-Mobile, big rise in T-Mobile, Q3 EPS $2.61 versus estimate of $2.04. Yeah, look at it breaking out of this little consolidation right before earnings, up about 5%. Kind of following along with what AT&T did the day before. Celestica, Q3 EPS $1.04 versus estimate 94 cents, up 17.52%. Earnings came in at 60% above year-over-year quarter. And onto Pega. Q3 EPS 39 cents versus estimate of 36 cents, and revenues of 325.05 million versus estimate of 325.07 million. Kind of missed on the revenues, but still it is up 11.49%. I'm sure we'll run into some of the other ones in what's up today, but let's just take a look, make sure we didn't miss anything. Celestica is number one. Z-Lab, we did not find in our review. Z-Lab, big gap up, 15.38%. China-based company develops therapies to treat oncology, autoimmune disorders, infectious diseases, up 15.9%. Celestica, we looked at. Greenbrier, up 15.5%. Huge volume. Earnings came in at 109%. And we've got 10 items here. Monopar Therapeutics, look at that huge rise, up 522% in one day. It was up much further earlier. Got a little bit of a pullback here. Earnings aren't for 14 days. There's Viking Therapeutics we looked at before. Eagle Bancorp up 14.69% on 4% earnings increase year over year quarter. Molina Healthcare got a nice bounce up 22% on 19% year over year quarter earnings beat. Whirlpool, I believe we watched, is down 74% earnings, which is surprising. And I'm just going to adjust this. This is our last one in this area. It is up 18%. Earnings are negative 14%. Another amazing, must have been another relief rally on this one. Wow, we got 36 items and items up 5% or more. We're not going to go through those as we've already spent big time looking at some of similar items that we've already taken a look at. Interesting, Enphase Energy, which was off quite a bit yesterday, is in the list. Enphase Energy, we'll see if it can fill this gap. Core Laboratories is bouncing up 7%. Evolution Gaming, look at that move up 14.5%. Looks like an overseas issue because it is quite volatile. It's an ADR, not sure where it is positioned, what country. Gaps up 7%. Lindsay had a huge wide range here, up 8% on a loss of 33% in year-over-year quarter. Monarch Casino and Resorts get a gap up 6%. We got HCI Group, homeowner and condominium owners, tenants in Florida, insurance, Applied Industrials is bouncing up 5.6%, and Jones Lang LaSalle, real estate and money management services in over 80 countries, gapping up here. Got some hotels here. Look at that big move in Choice Hotels, up 323%. Choice One Financial Services, up 7.25%. Pretty good volume. Earnings came in at plus 37%. Here's a recent IPO. Goosehead Insurance had a pretty wide range. Their earnings were up 9%. And the stock is up a little over 9% today. Plexus is up a little over 8.5%. Contract manufacturer. Raymond James Financial gaps up about 7%. Earnings came in at plus 38%. Wyndham Hotels gaps up 9.46%. CBRE, provides property management, gap up almost up 10% for the day. And that is where we'll end that. Let's take a look what we're doing. We haven't been doing too much at the moment, but beauty. We'll see if this can break above the 20-day moving average and sustain it. We have options on this one out in December. Same with Celsius. Let's see if that can get a pop. Their lot will be determined by their earnings in 14 days. American superconductor pulls back to its 50-day moving average. See if it can get a bounce. It's up 1.17 today. Ores had been above 14 earlier in the morning, pulling back a little bit, still up 1.63% as it broke out. Pulled back to the 20-day moving average and is riding right along the 20 and 10-day moving average. That is continues to move up. I think there's a lot of professional money managers moving into that. So that is our show for today. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Hope everybody has a great day, and we'll catch you on Friday.